We're living in a world where doing the wrong thing is rewarded, doing the bad, evil thing is celebrated. And it takes a certain courage of conviction to stay in light when darkness is made easier. Life is complicated. Life is not fair. Life is all of a shit show and wonder and magic and everything in between. And part of the task of being a human is finding the tools and the capacities and learning how to grapple with all of its contradictions and still move peacefully and still share love and still be in awe at the magic and grandeur and amazement of life. So why is it so difficult? The brightness and the darkness of our future depends on the quality of the choices we make. There's a responsibility of recognition of people's basic human dignity, and this is the practice of Ubuntu. You need to be able to recognize the humanity in me. Without that recognition, what are you doing? Part of the complexity of being a human is our capacity to grapple and deal with darkness, with really murderously evil energy, and alchemize that into higher energetic frequencies. I think it's part of the machinations of how free will operates on this plane. That contradiction in lived experience is what makes achieving inner peace so magical. We need the seasons and the cycles and the ups and the downs. And the task is to find ways and capacities to deal with that. Change is the one constant thing throughout life. Yeah. One of the biggest and the first hurdle is the inability to talk honestly about whatever the issue is. There has to be space to talk about it. There has to be a container that allows for all the emotions to be present and to be valid, but not to derail what is the intention at hand, right? So having the deep dialogue process is important. No one's saying to dwell on the negativity, but you need to know what does not work and what not to do again for us to not repeat the mistakes. Yes, we do not dwell on negativity. I 100% agree. You must be able to discern. I think it's a dangerous thing to not know the history, not knowing the facts, or your inability to check for yourself what is true and what is not. That critical thinking capacity to go verify and double check what my beliefs, we must be sure that they are ours and that they are chosen. Those cannot be blindly inherited beliefs that will cause you to cause harm upon others. Figure out what is your starting point. Do I need to learn how to listen? Do I need to learn how to speak my truth without my voice cracking? Everybody has different starting points in terms of what they need to do. So it requires a commitment to a shift, a commitment to existing past your comfort zone in the places that make you really uncomfortable. It requires sitting through the ickiness. It requires loving each other through our ugly. I must love you enough to be able to see you get ugly and come back. We're not breaking up, we're family. We're all human. So we need to learn what that modality of loving each other through our ugly. And on the other hand, I must love you enough to be able to be honest with you about what I did. So the forgiveness, yes, the reconciliation, yes, but there must also be a willingness to atone, because a sorry is not in the mouth, it's in the deed. It's one thing to say you're an ally, it's another thing to actually show up when it's time to show up.
And what does that involve?
Courage, so do what you can with what you have where you are. You can only actually give from a full cup. If your cup is empty, you can't do much. And part of the other praxis is reflecting on why you want to help, and if the energy with which you're helping is useful. Sometimes, I know this might sound harsh, but sometimes the best thing to do is nothing, really. It is important to consider the manner in which things are done. The how is important. And if you can't get the how correctly, if you can't spend time thinking and being intentional about the how, doing the right thing is so difficult. Okay, so just have grace for self. Grapple with whatever guilt, whatever anxiety, whatever it is, all of that brings up for you. And take it one step at a time. The other thing about courage of conviction is, do you want to belong to the group if the engagement requires misalignment with self. And I do think that we are discouraged from choosing ourselves selfishly in lieu of pleasing others around us. And it is a scary something to do, particularly with people that you love and you care about, especially if people have power over you, like a boss or, things like this. You need to engage, you need to dialogue. I was ready to grow and heal. Am I going to delay my healing because other people are not ready? So the practice of the Zulu principle of Ubuntu, Umuntu muntu ngabantu, I am human because you are human. To be able to practice that is something that you would have to choose in your day-to-day. Who we see as other and what we believe that makes them other shapes how we engage others. And practicing the principle of Ubuntu means understanding that there is no other. For all comes from one source. The essence is the same. I am who I am because you are you. You are a reflection of me and vice versa. We've been living a particular way on this planet that has not been in right relation with anything holistic and life affirming. So there are consequences, there are energetic consequences to this. Will we rebuild the same way? Knowing what we know, what that creates and how that results in, will we choose different modalities, whatever they be, new or ancient? Like, are we going to remember how to be in right relation with the Mother Earth? That's really just the question at hand. Because when I'm not in alignment with how I am, with what I know to bring me inner comfort, it's not peaceful. It's not peaceful. And so part of the practice is also cultivating discernment. When you go into the ether, you're going to encounter things that may not be good for you and deceive you. There's a level of discernment that is required to hear what the divine is saying to you. And some of us have switched the volume of that so low that we can't hear. But when you're doing the wrong thing, your thing tells you. When you're doing the right thing, you feel it because there's so much joy. You feel energy for life and excitement. You dance in the awe and wonder and magic of being alive. That is the coherence. That if we are all able to figure out what that is for us individually, collectively, that does something in the ether, because love is a powerful force. How we treat each other as people, how businesses, how we treat the oceans, the land, all of it, there needs to be space for us to grapple with the consequences of what has been done and for us to find courage to do the right thing in a time where doing the wrong thing is what is demanded. There is something to be said about this. It's always darkest before the dawn, but what we do in the darkness is what's important, and how we move there, will always be revealed in the light. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know whether to call you your peaceful name or your warrior name at the moment. Which do you prefer, Shanti or Shanti?
Shanti, thank you.
Oh, Shanti, yeah, really deeply appreciated what you had to share and grateful for your presence here. I hope we get more chances to communicate, interact. Yeah, it was awesome.